as they have hinted that they would, Dominion Voting Systems is now suing Mike Lindell and his company, My Pillow Inc. This means Mike has been added to the illustrious company of Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani as parties that Dominion has sued over statements made regarding Dominion's participation in the 2020 presidential election. By the way, I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm a legal and political commentator here on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like legal and political news, opinions, analysis, and all of that stuff. Oh, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Okay, so Mike Lindell is being sued by Dominion. Now, Mike's in a little bit of a different position than Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, even though they're all being sued for the same amount in individual suits, $1.3 billion. Yes, that's right. $1.3 billion, which comes from compensatory damages of not less than about $650 million, and then punitive damages for an additional $650 million. So they're saying this is related to defamatory statements made about Dominion. Now, as I've stated in the other videos, but you may not have watched them, so I'll say it again, the big hurdle for Dominion in these cases is they have to show that Mike Lindell made a false statement of fact, not opinion, nothing else, a false statement of fact about Dominion that caused Dominion damage. And since they are public figures, as they are a company who publicly participated in a governmental effort, which is the 2020 presidential election, by providing vote machines to several different states to count ballots, and Mike Lindell would say count them in error, because they chose to do that, then they have to prove something called actual malice, which for them means that they have to prove Mike Lindell not only made a false statement about them that caused them damage, but that that false statement was made with either knowledge of the falsity or reckless disregard for the truthfulness of the statement. These are really difficult things. This comes out of case law from a long time ago, New York Times versus Sullivan. It's a well-regarded case. This is established law. Dominion is almost guaranteed to be a public figure, so they have to establish the malicious nature of these statements. Now, malicious doesn't mean mean-spirited or angry or not liking. They have to actually produce evidence that these statements were made with knowledge that they were false. The problem, as is the problem in Rudy Giuliani and in the problem in Sidney Powell's case for Dominion, is that all of these people seem to fully believe that Dominion basically cheated in the election. That's what they believe. It does not appear that they think these are false statements that they're making. They believe the statements to be true. So Dominion is going to have to go that extra step and show that they should have known that these are false. That's a little bit more difficult even than producing statements that they knew they were false. If they knew they were false, you could find them saying, hey, I know this is false, but I'm saying it anyway. You could presumably get that evidence and put it forward. They haven't done that, and I don't think you're going to find it with Mike, with Sidney, or with Rudy. All of them seem to fully believe this thing. And no matter how many Democrat congressmen now call it the big lie, that doesn't mean that they believed it was a lie when they said it or that they believe it's a lie now. So Dominion will have to overcome that hurdle, and that is a big sticking point in all of these lawsuits. The other problem that they're going to have is they're going to have to show the actual damage that was done, because they have to prove out that they actually suffered $650 million worth of damage. However, since basically everyone agrees right now, right? And you guys can tell me in the comments down below if you do. Everybody agrees. I've been told by several congressmen and every news station on the planet that none of this happened, that that was all a big lie. And so since we all know it was a big lie and everybody agrees that none of this is bad, Dominion's reputation can't actually be harmed, I don't think. So they're going to have to show how their reputation was actually harmed. And of course, in all of this, Mike Lindell gets to go after any sort of discovery on Dominion to help prove that his statement wasn't a lie. So he will get to do that if he chooses to go through with the lawsuit rather than settle it out. Of course, I'm not sure Dominion has any desire in settling this out at all. One more interesting thing about this is that unlike Rudy and Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell may actually have $1.3 billion between him and his company, and so he seems to be at a larger exposure risk than the other parties, financially speaking, because he has the ability to pay. Now, Sidney Powell has hired Lynn Wood in her case. I'm not sure if Rudy Giuliani has hired any interesting lawyers of particular notoriety, but I'll be looking into it, and I will be updating on all three of these cases as they develop. This is going to be a slow-moving process, and Dominion will be attempting to grind these people into the ground. And this complaint is evidence of it right out the gate. Same with all of the others. The complaint in this one is 121 pages. It's about the same for Sidney Powell. It's a little bit shorter for Rudy Giuliani, but similar, around that 100-page mark. And it is just hammer blow after hammer blow. Interviews, screenshots, tweets, everything they can come up with that Mike Lindell ever said bad about Dominion, and they're trying for the approach of hammering the nail into the ground with just repeated blows on Mike. And so my inference from that is that they are prepared to bury him in discovery requests. They want to make this uncomfortable. They want to make this long. They want to make this expensive. And they really want to make an example of Mike, of Sidney, of Rudy. They may go after Trump. They may go after other people as well, but these three are some of the biggest culprits. Oh, Lynn Wood, of course, Dominion has talked about going after Lynn Wood, but they have not actually served him yet. If their schedule maintains some consistency here, we may see a suit against Lynn Wood coming up sometime in the next month or so. Again, I'll be watching for all of this. But for now, their main allegations are rooted around defamation, and the root of that defamatory issue is, again, false statement made by the defendant, in this case Mike Lindell or MyPillow. Now, this is interesting. They're bringing Mike Lindell's company into this, and one of two things that can actually go one of two ways. If Mike Lindell is acting in his official capacity as representative of MyPillow, that could provide him some sort of corporate shield. If they're going after MyPillow for statements, then they'll have to go ahead and prove that MyPillow was the one making the statements, not Mike Lindell. And similarly, if they're going to go after Mike Lindell, they have to show that he's the one making the statements and that he's not acting representative of MyPillow, where that corporate shielding could take place. So that's another thing they have to go around there. I'm not actually aware of the MyPillow company itself making these sorts of claims, so it's kind of interesting. Again, I'll have to read through the lawsuit to find out. I will provide a link to this lawsuit down in the description below if you want to go ahead and read it. But sorry, back to what I was saying. False statement made by the defendant, either Mike Lindell or MyPillow, about Dominion. It has to be a statement of fact, not an opinion. An objective, factual statement, not an opinion. And then that statement has to cause damage. And because Dominion is very likely a public figure, it has to be made with actual malice, which is either knowledge of the falsity of the statement or a reckless disregard for the truth. Now, since U.S. Dominion Systems, their software is a trade secret and no one gets to go look at it, and they refuse to comply with, various inquiry boards around the country about their systems, it's going to be hard to show that they knew that this was false. So anyway, we'll see. Like I said, what do you think? Tell me down below. And until we talk next time, have a good day. Peace. Peace.